What were the major internal challenges in Austria-Hungary during WWI? If you're curious about the internal struggles that Austria-Hungary faced during World War I, you're about to uncover some fascinating and complex issues that plagued this vast and diverse empire. One of the most significant challenges was the severe food scarcity. By 1915, Vienna was already introducing ration cards for basic items like flour, bread, and sugar. This situation worsened over the years, with potatoes, marmalade, and even meat being rationed by 1918. The lack of coordination between Austria and Hungary in food distribution was a major problem. Hungary, with its agricultural base, had the right to sell food to Austria, but was not obligated to do so, leading to severe shortages in Vienna. This food crisis exacerbated tensions between the Austrian and Hungarian populations. Hungarians were perceived to be hoarding food, while they too were suffering from shortages. The agricultural production in Hungary, mainly from large feudal estates, did not alleviate the urban-rural tensions. The necessity of feeding the massive armed forces further strained the relationship between Austrians and Hungarians. Another critical issue was the political instability and lack of cooperation between the two halves of the monarchy. The Hungarian government, led by Prime Minister Count István Tisza, guarded its sovereignty fiercely and refused to recognize decrees from Vienna. This led to a fragmented response to the war efforts, with the War Surveillance Office in Vienna having no jurisdiction in Hungary. The dissolution of the Austrian Parliament in 1914 and its absence until May 1917 left a power vacuum. Political parties and their publications were heavily censored, and everyday sites like shops and street corners became more influential in shaping public opinion than traditional political bodies. This environment bred conspiracy theories and hostility towards ethnic minorities, including Czechs, Hungarians, Poles, Jews, and Italians. Economic conditions also deteriorated rapidly. The empire's dependence on agriculture was severely impacted by the mobilization of millions of men into the army. Industrial production struggled to meet the demand for munitions, and the transportation system became overwhelmed. Inflation soared, wiping out the savings of the middle class, and the GDP suffered significantly from the war efforts. The multi-ethnic nature of the empire created further internal strife. As the war dragged on, nationalist movements gained momentum, with various ethnic groups demanding greater autonomy or full independence. This was encouraged by the Allies, who promised support to these movements. By 1917, Emperor Karl's attempts to reform the empire into a confederation were rejected by the national who distrusted Vienna and sought independence. The military itself was also plagued by issues. The Austro-Hungarian army was ill-equipped and poorly led, leading to significant losses early in the war. By 1916, the army had lost its ability to act independently of Germany and became increasingly dependent on German assistance. The diverse ethnic composition of the army, with soldiers speaking different languages and having different customs, further complicated its operational capability. In the final years of the war, the empire's disintegration accelerated. Civil authority began to break down, with armed bands of deserters forming in Croatia-Slavonia and massive looting erupting. The military breakdown on the Italian front marked the beginning of rebellions among the various ethnic groups, who refused to continue fighting for a cause that seemed senseless. These internal challenges collectively weakened the Austro-Hungarian Empire, making it increasingly difficult for it to sustain its efforts in World War I. The combination of food shortages, political instability, economic strain, and ethnic tensions ultimately contributed to the empire's disintegration.